Hi, I'm Cynthia Bruno. I'm WCIA 3's morning news anchor. I also anchor a show called Current. It's an in-depth news show for women in Central Illinois. We've been on the air with that since September. Just to give you a little bit of background about my job, I'll start with my hours because that's what everyone asks me about first. I wake up pretty early in the morning. Our news show runs from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. So I get into the station around 3:30, and what I do when I come in is I look at all the different rundowns and the stories that we have for that day, talk to our producers about what really our news is of the day looking forward and what people are going to be talking about and what they need to know as they are waking up to start their day. So then I anchor the news until about 8 o'clock, and I come back in for a couple of different breaks during the 8 o'clock show to the 9 o'clock show. While I'm doing that, I also get ready to start producing and taking a look at our 9 a.m. to 10 o'clock a.m. show. So a lot of different moving parts going on in the morning. That's my main job, and I do a lot of behind the scenes things as well as both of our shows wrap up. A little background on how I got to where I am. I grew up in southern Wisconsin, and then I went to Syracuse University in New York, and I majored in both broadcast news and political science. I got a double major and then as well as a minor in Spanish from Syracuse University. I did that because I thought it was important to have a really good handle on politics and kind of be able to talk the talk and walk the walk along with everyone else who I was going to be interviewing at not only my first job, but every job I've had since. So that's a little bit about my education. I went and I started reporting at a very small station in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Came to Channel 3 to report about a year after that. Got hired away actually by our sister station in Peoria to start my anchoring career, and then came back to WCIA on the morning show. So in a quick nutshell, that has been my career so far in broadcast news. And if you are interested in journalism, I wish you the best of luck.
Hi everyone, I'm Nancy Forman, CI Living's executive producer. I've been the producer of CI Living for 4 years, but overall I've been a producer for 13 years. I graduated from Indiana State with a bachelor's degree in radio TV, so my background is naturally TV production. Now you're probably asking yourself, well, what does a producer do? Basically what a producer does is write. This is a rundown of a CI Living show, and I'm going to scroll through it real quick. But this is how my show is planned out for the hour, because CI Living is from 4 to 5 p.m. So everything is planned down to the second, from the time Matt and Heather say hello until the time they say goodbye. And during that hour, we have a lot of things taking place. So everything has to be in the right place at the right time. And I have to make sure not only is the director and the camera operators in studio aware of what's happening every minute of the hour, but also Matt and Heather and Joe as well, making sure they know what's going on. So if you'd like to become a producer, and if you love details and love being in control of things, maybe producing is something you should consider.
Hi, I'm Joe Barlow. I'm a storyteller on WCIA's afternoon show, CI Living. And basically what my job is telling stories about the people and places of Central Illinois. So this is kind of what you might see on TV. If everything goes according to plan. But my job involves going out and shooting this video, but it also involves editing. This is what it looks like to me. These are individual video clips. These are sound clips down on the bottom, and together you put them through, and then hopefully it all comes into a great story. So my background is I went to college and studied broadcast news. I was interested in doing more feature stories as opposed to hard news, which you'd see during newscasts. It's been a very fulfilling job. There's a lot of jobs you can get into here at the station, a lot of behind the scenes job. The one thing I would say to young people about this is you should be prepared if you want to be on camera to know how to do stuff like this, because it's becoming more and more common where they're going to expect you to know how to do this or know how to write and do different things. So definitely keep an open mind if you want to be on camera. If you want to be behind the scenes, again, these are all great skills. It's good to know both sides because it helps you understand your finished television product. I thank you for listening, and good luck with your future careers.
I'm meteorologist Lisa Meadows. Welcome to the WCIA Weather Center. I started off getting a Bachelor's of Science in Meteorology with a minor in mathematics because in order to get my meteorology degree, there's so much math and so much physics involved that I had to get a minor in math in order to get my Bachelor's of Science in Meteorology. I also got a BA in TV radio communications, just kind of break up all of the hard science and physics involved. It used to be way back in the day that a lot of just broadcasters would actually do the weather. Nowadays it's getting more and more, because as the field starts to get a little bit more wider, more people get into meteorology to where more and more broadcasters who do the weather are actual meteorologists as opposed to just broadcasters. That's what our weather team is like here, and this is our weather center as well. So we have plenty of things. This is Mike Taylor. He's our weekend meteorologist. One thing about the weather team that's a lot different when it comes to us compared to just a regular journalist or an anchor is we pretty much have control of the weather center and the studio 24 hours, 7 days a week. And that's because if there is any severe weather, someone has to be here to do severe weather cut-ins. So I'm the morning meteorologist. We have our chief meteorologist, Derek Fabert. He's here in the evenings, and we pretty much take shifts from about 2 a.m. to 2 p.m. to make sure that if there are thunderstorms popping up, one might be a severe thunderstorm or tornado warned, that someone will be in here in order to do cut-ins for those severe thunderstorm warnings, because that's probably the most important aspect of our job, that is making sure to get those warnings out there if there is some sort of severe weather moving through. Now, in order to do that, that's where all the science, physics, and mathematics comes into play. In order to forecast, we take all these different computers and we use all of them as tools. A lot of computer energy used in the Weather Center. One of which is just to make weather graphics. We build our shows, we make our forecasts, and we build our show using these different weather graphics, different weather shows. And we basically just use a clicker to click through each show. Every time we press a button on the clicker, if you notice, if you ever watch the news, you'll notice in the right or left hand of the meteorologist, they usually have a clicker, and they use this to advance through the show. So they come in and they forecast, and then they click through each and every slide, and that shows you exactly what show they're going to have. So they set up their show before we get on the green screen, and that way we know exactly what's going to be said. And that's how you know if a meteorologist really knows what they're talking about, because they're using the green screen and their different slides more so as kind of a PowerPoint to tell them what they're going to be continuing to say, as opposed to, say, reading off of a teleprompter like an anchor may use. So we come for me at least, I come in real early in the morning. I look at the current observations, so look basically across the U.S. and see radar, satellite-wise, pressure, all of the current weather that's happening, and then compare that to the different forecasting models. So there are these big supercomputers that take all of the physics that make up the atmosphere and put that into all these mathematical equations, and then in the end you get different forecasting models that come out. So as meteorologists, we know that one forecasting model maybe does a better job than, say, another forecasting model, and we've seen that all throughout just experience in broadcasting and forecasting year after year, and we know which forecasting model to use, and that's how we kind of put together our forecast based upon the different forecasting models, what we've seen and what we've learned in school. That's where the forecast comes into play. Now these are two of the main computers that do that. Another one, we of course have the internet. Another one, we have observations, and then we even have other computers that their sole purpose is basically just taking those forecasting models and downloading all the information so that we could use that on air in our different shows that we have and all those different slides you were just seeing. We of course also have some other nifty tools. One thing would be our different sky cams all across central Illinois, because part of the job is seeing what's out there. Sometimes what you're seeing on a radar doesn't necessarily depict what you're seeing at the ground level. So we have a bunch of different sky cams all across the viewing area that we can use, and of course if there was ever severe weather, some sort of tornado, then we could always bring it up there as well. And of course, when you think of meteorologists, you think of the green screen, and this is my second home, definitely something that you really have to practice. At first people think, oh, this is really hard. How would you be able to do something like this? Well, after you practice all throughout college, take courses on the green screen, eventually you just get used to it. And all the green screen is, it's a big green wall basically, and it's the camera is taking anything that is green and it's overlaying our graphics from our computer and those shows that we build over anything green. So if I were wearing a green shirt, then instead of having the green shirt on, it would be the weather graphics. That's why you'll never see a meteorologist wearing the color green. Well, how this works, we have a camera that's set up. When the camera faces the green screen, underneath that there's the camera, and then there is kind of a picture, kind of a show back of what you are seeing. Same with these monitors. These monitors would also have a picture of you in front of the green screen, but then it's showing your graphics as opposed to just the green. So that's how we know what we're looking at and what we're pointing at. We're not actually looking at the green screen. Here's a little trick for you. We're not actually looking at the green screen when we do this. We're actually looking at that monitor, and that's what we're using to kind of point to. And there's monitors on both sides of the green screen and also a monitor just straight ahead. So if you're interested in going to broadcast meteorology, I would definitely recommend getting a meteorology degree, because that'll be your best bet in knowing and understanding the science when it comes to forecasting. And also, if you are a weather nerd like me, it'll absolutely be a lot of fun as well.